All right, so here we are going to do another virtual book club post. Um, so I'm sitting here drinking my coffee this morning. Before I've been doing them like the day before or something like that. And I don't mind being on camera with no makeup, but this is the first time I really just kind of sat around a little bit and drank some coffee and decided, hey, let's just do my video now. Maybe I just have no fucks to give right now, or maybe I'm being creative and I'm like, hey, maybe they're sitting around drinking their coffee too, watching my video, and I want to make them feel better. I don't know. I just kind of had the desire to do it a little bit different this time. I really liked doing the live videos that I've done before, and I think it kind of makes me feel like that, where I'm just sitting down and talking to people, so it's a little bit more of a comfort level for me. We'll be talking about Girl Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. I just finished my week 3 reading, and my favorite thing about stuff in my life sometimes is when things happen right on time. So the day that I wrote, or that I read these 5 chapters, the very first chapter that I read was really helpful to one of my daughters who is not living with me right now. We had a phone conversation about some things going on in her life, and the funny thing is the chapter that resonated with me for her and her situation is other people's kids are so much cleaner, better, and organized. See, it's chapter 11. But the funny thing is it's when I related it to my daughter, it had nothing to do with her being my kid. So some of the stuff that talked about was embracing the chaos, because she feels like she's very out of control in her life right now. And so I really liked this chapter. I did a lot of underlining in this chapter. One of the things that was said in there was sometimes when we're dealing with chaos or a lot of crazy things in our life, we try to ignore it. We try to act like it doesn't exist and push it down. And this, at the very end of one of her paragraphs, says you may think it's not affecting you directly, but it will come out, and likely in ways that aren't healthy for you or your family. And I really think that's important to note, because when we're dealing with things and we act like they don't exist, or we go focus on other things instead of dealing with them, they come back to get us, sometimes in our health or other situations. And she talks a lot about embracing the madness and just kind of going with it. And she relates it to a tide. So I just left Northwest Florida, where we have a lot of rip currents and things like that. And one of the things they tell you is just to kind of relax and go with it. And that's something that she talked about, one of her analogies, and I love analogies. So, everybody gets overwhelmed, not just parents. So that's what I said. Like, I took so many pictures of this book and sent it to my daughter to help her out with what she's going through. So it was really cool. And then another one that I really liked is, we'll ask for help. Whatever you do, whether you pray, you ask the universe, whatever the case may be, we ask for help. And then little things will get sent our way to help us, and we're like, no, this is not what we asked for, or God's going to help me, or the universe is going to help me. Well, that's how these things work. Like they help you out in those ways. You just need to accept it when they happen. So, and that's something that I really needed to hear also. The next chapter really resonated with me too. It's talking about I need to make myself smaller. That's the lie. And that's something that I've been working on for the last year, or probably more than a year. I've had a couple of people make comments to me over the last 3 or 4 years saying, hey, this isn't you. Why are you acting like this? And I realize a lot of it is that I've been told, I should be this way or I shouldn't be that way. And a lot of it has to do with trying to shrink me and make me smaller than who I am. So this chapter really, I really connected with it. And I still do it. I'm looking for a job now, and when people ask me about my skills or they ask me what I'm looking for, I keep trying to find ways to make it sound not all that great. Or when I'm, having to write my resume or work on my resume, I'm like, okay, well, what can I put on my resume that makes me sound amazing? And then everything I think of, I'm like, oh, I was just doing my job, or, oh, I was just doing this small thing. And I really do. I still shrink myself, and it's something that I need to stop doing. And I'll notice when I don't do it, because I'll see the looks on people's faces, I can be very overwhelming. And that's just me. You know, maybe I just need to be up on a stage instead of in people's faces, because it's a little bit easier to handle a big personality on stage. I don't know. I see the comedians doing it and they do just fine. So those are the 2 chapters that really resonated with me. I did read the rest of them. They were kind of funny, some of them. Chapter 13, she talked about the lie I'm going to marry Matt Damon. And she talked a lot about dreams. And some of the stuff that helped in that, you know, writing them down, saying them out loud, and creating a vision board. And I really have been contemplating doing some of those things, so I'm probably going to look at doing that. One of them was talking about writing, and I'm taking a writing class right now. And when I mention my blog to people, once again, it's another time that I make myself small. I'm like, oh, I just write, you know, I just write a blog. And people are like, oh, you write a blog? And I'm like, oh, no, nobody really reads it. And they're like, well, why do you write it? And honestly, I write for myself. And I hope that maybe somebody will run across it and it'll make something amazing in their life happen. But I do truly write for myself with the hope that, you know, 1 or 2 people run across it. I'm not looking for internet fame. I'm not looking to be this huge, internet star. And one of the reasons is I really don't want to be held accountable by other people right now. Like, I don't want to feel like I owe a blog to somebody, because what if something else in my life, you know, pops off and I don't have the time to write, and then I feel bad. So, and I know that sounds so silly to say that, but that really is. So I do write for myself. I do hope that, you know, 1 or 2 people run across my blog or run across these videos or reads these books with me. But really, I do this for myself. That's all I have for this one. I will be finishing up this book this week. So if you have any suggestions on books to read next, please leave them in the comments, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Let me know what you think we should read next, and I hope that you'll read along with me. You may not get everything you're looking from a book, but I've shown you that I've gotten little things here and there out of these books. So leave me some suggestions so I can look into them.